93 of Media Mothership here on Edge Radio 99.3 again. And on this show, we explore how media can shape our understanding of the world around us. We're streaming on edgeradio.org.au as well as hopefully over YouTube and Twitch. You can find us just by searching Media Mothership. And we're also on the DAB. Message us in if you have any thoughts or points as we're exploring aspects of media culture today via the SMS line on 0488811707, or send us a message over, certainly Twitch. I believe Twitch is working. You can try YouTube. We should be streaming there as well, hopefully. Anyway, today's topic, we're going to be looking at some ways in which movies can frame reality, but first we're going to look at some intriguing news articles, including one that came out recently with the popular movie Wicked. Gizmondo was reporting a week or two ago that the toy line, Mattel, accidentally X-rated the Wicked series, movie, because of doll packaging. And now there's a lawsuit. So a parent is now suing the toy company after the URL for a porn website mistakenly appeared on packaging for Wicked dolls. So this, of course, is a huge epic fail from Mattel, where on the box for dolls, linked to the Wicked movie, which of course is the retelling of, or kind of prequel, and the complete failure, I guess, of double checking the copy there when it got released. So there's a comment here that's from Variety. So to read from the Variety magazine, there's a quote here saying, according to court documents, a South Carolina resident is launching a class action lawsuit after purchasing the toy for her young daughter, who visited the X-rated website that had nothing to do with the Wicked doll. So the Variety trade paper goes on to say the plaintiff alleges that Mattel didn't offer a refund and believes she and her child suffered emotional distress from the misprint. There we go. Another intriguing bit of news coming out around some video game studies. This one's from GameSpot.com. The headline is, gamers may spend more time watching games than playing them. Intriguing. The article goes on to say a new report has suggested that players are more engaged watching game videos than actually playing the games. This is from a 17-page report from an organization called MIDIA Research, MIDIA Research. And they detailed the time that players of various age groups spend playing games and watching game-related videos. The article goes on to say that the consumer survey was conducted in the second quarter of 2024, so pretty recently, and featured responses from players in the United States, the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Germany, France, Sweden, South Korea, and Brazil. According to the reports, the total average time that players devote to playing video games is approximately just under 16 hours a week. Total. So of that 16 hours, only 7.4 hours are in fact spent with the games, playing the games, while the remaining 8.5 hours, so just over one more hour, are devoted weekly to watching the game content on Twitch, YouTube, and social media outlets. So that's fascinating that watching various, I guess, Let's Plays, React videos, or discussions of video games. This bit of research indicated that people are spending more time watching those video game discussion pieces than the actual video games. Feel free to add Media Mothership to that list of watching content, talking about games rather than playing games. So let's jump onto that fun little bandwagon. Now what I'd like to do is explore some points around cinema. And the reason why I was so interested in looking at cinema was recently I finally got around to watching Deadpool and Wolverine, the superhero movie, tongue-in-cheek, with Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, of course. And there was one scene in it in particular which I found really amusing because of how it deliberately played with expectations and then didn't fulfill that expectation or reinvented it. So the scene I'm speaking about, and again, there will be some spoilers in the discussion of movies on today's program, so listener beware. But most of the movies we're going to be discussing are quite old. And for the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, the scene involves a superhero character that kind of then gets killed through Deadpool's kind of betrayal in a really amusing fashion. So again, what that set up in my mind was how effective it can be in reversing expectations, where you have a turning point in a film or a movie, book, anything you're reading, any bit of fiction you're engaging with, where the dialogue, action, characters suddenly take a turn, right? They reverse the direction you expected them to go in. And it can be very entertaining when it's done well. So I want to dive into this idea. There's a really fascinating book called The Craft of Scene Writing by Jim Mercurio, who unpacks this idea of the reverse. So we'll set up some of his ideas first, then we'll play some clips he discusses, as well as some other movies that I think nicely capture this idea of why this concept of the reverse is really useful to understanding how some cinema works, how some storytelling works really well, and other storytelling kind of falls over.
The essence of surprise. Surprises in the climax of a scene or story go by various names. These include plot twist, turning point, plot point, event, and several others. Of all the terms, my favorite is reversal, because it calls attention to the shape of the buildup and eventual surprise. In terms of structure itself, a well-choreographed surprise in a light comedy will look exactly like the twist in a prestigious and stuffy Oscar-bait drama. A reversal in a sentence of action description will work just like the twist in your screenplay that hurdles your story into the final act and toward the showdown. It's not enough to veer sharply. The story must move full speed from one direction to an opposite one. A powerful scene from LA Confidential shows how this principle creates a strong turning point and a crisp reversal. In the film, the antagonist, Dudley Smith, James Cromwell, shows Bud White, Russell Crowe, a picture intended to spark his violent temper.
All right, so we'll pause it there. Well, let's listen to this scene. So, of course, LA Confidential, a great little hard-boiled cop drama set in the interwar period, I want to say 30s, 40s. And Russell Crowe is playing off against a character who is about to head into conflict. So the setup for this scene is that this one cop played by Russell Crowe is going to fight and probably kill another cop played by Guy Pearce. So that's the direction it's going in. And again, the concept of reversal here is how that scene then shifts. So our expectation is this character is going to get killed. And Taylor makes a good point here on the chat here in the studio, saying if it's a hard-boiled cop, is there a soft-boiled cop? I don't know. I think anything aimed probably for an audience PG and under would probably be soft-boiled. Well, we'll be having a clip from Casablanca, which is aimed at PG. I'd still say aspects of that as hard-boiled. Anyway, let's listen now to this scene from LA Confidential where the character Bud White, played by Russell Crowe, fights Ed Exley, played here by Guy Pearce.
White, I'm glad you're here. I need you to see this.
So in this scene, Guy Pearce has just seen that Russell Crowe's character is holding a photo incriminating him with Russell Crowe, the character Russell Crowe's playing his girlfriend, set up to this fight scene, which then gets unleashed, and this music is rising. A couple of blows landed. So, of course, our expectation while we're watching this scene is that Guy Pearce's character is going to die, right? Russell Crowe is laying into him, and who will die?
He killed Jack. He wants you to kill me. He showed you the photo, didn't he? Didn't he?
So Guy Pearce's character is trying to convince Russell Crowe that it's a setup, that he's being played. And there we go. Suddenly the background music stopped. Russell Crowe has thrown a chair out the window, but is calming down now. And we're seeing a reversal happen here.
I checked the daily report books. Dudley, Buzz Meeks, and Stensland go way back.
I know Stensland lied to me.
All right, so there we have this reversal, this moment where the audience's anxiety and fears that a good cop, Guy Pearce, is about to be killed by kind of shady bad cop Russell Crowe aren't fulfilled, but instead we have this twist where we realize that Russell Crowe's character is being played with the expectation he'll kill Guy Pearce. So let's hear now how Mercurio then unpacks this scene.
Fellow officer Ed Exley, Guy Pearce, sleeping with White's girlfriend, Lynn Bracken, Kim Basinger. Predictably, White finds Exley, intending to hurt and possibly even kill him. Like any good bad guy, Smith manipulates White's character flaw, his demonstrated habit of committing impulsive acts of violence. When White finds Exley at the precinct working on the case, he begins to pummel him. The shots are fairly tight. The use of long lenses on a handheld camera, quick cuts, and an intense sound design create a chaotic look and feel. In a few brief lulls, Exley urges him to think, but the action continues, and the scene culminates with a dramatic finale. White picks up a chair and holds it above Exley. His choice is clear. Hit Exley and succumb to his flaw, or choose to grow by not hitting him and make Exley his ally to help solve the case. Instead of slamming the chair down, he hurls it across the room through a closed window. In the literal split second that White makes his decision, the following elements abruptly change. Focal length of the lens, long to short. Proximity of subject, close-up to long shot. Duration of shot, short to long. Sound, frenetic to quiet. Music, present to absent. Steadiness of camera, handheld to locked down. And depth of focus, shallow to deep. The blocking of the actor is also new. He stands still and faces away from us in an emotional respite or disengagement. Rather than taking this as an encouragement to over-direct on the page, you should see how all of these artisans, editors, composer, sound designers, cinematographers, and actors are using the same storytelling principles. The director synchronizes these crafts to accentuate the heart of the scene and deliver the intended emotional impact. Every creative choice that contributed to the idea of violence, chaos, mindlessness, and loss of control suddenly reverses course to nonviolence, order, thinking, and control.
So it's a nice idea there that Mercurio is setting up around this idea of how reversal works in terms of everything to do with that scene. Not only is the dialogue heading in one direction, accusations of sleeping with the other character's girlfriend, then the background music scene being this frenetic scoring, obviously the sound effects of punches and struggle and violence, and then if you would see that scene, the quick shots, close-ups and so forth that are used to convey this anger, aggression, violence scene, and then suddenly that reversal occurs once Crow's character decides not to smash the chair against Guy Pearce's character's head, but instead throws it out the window. And then suddenly everything changes, right? We have that reversal where instead of meeting the expectations that, wow, one of the characters is going to die, instead they start talking, planning, and figuring out how to act next. So it goes from a kind of action scene to a peaceful scene. And again, that's that idea of reversal that we're getting at that we'll unpack with a couple of other scenes. We'll do one more example that Mercurio sets up, which I think is quite good. It's a classic from John Wayne's Westerns.
Moment in the Western McClintock mirrors the scene in L.A. Confidential and how it sets up a surprise twist. McClintock, John Wayne, steps in to defend young Ben, Bruce Cabot, from a shotgun-wielding father, Mr. Jones, Leo Gordon, who imagines his daughter has been disgraced.
So we'll have a listen to that scene now. So what he's describing here, again, is an equally potentially violent scene. However, instead, it shifts into a different reversal. So let's see, as we're hearing this, if you can guess where the reversal comes about.
You want to wear a big hole in your middle?
How long is GW going to let that cheat-chalker push him around?
That cheat-chalker has a sawed-off shotgun.
How do you know she didn't wander off someplace or meet some fella or something?
What are you saying? That I didn't raise my girl right? That she'd wander off all night with some man?
There's a lot of things I'm not saying to you, mister. Well, you got a sawed-off shotgun in my middle. But how do you know this Indian had anything to do with it?
She's gone, ain't she? She's gone.
Pa! Pa! I'm over here! Pa! Been looking for me, Pa?
Where you been, gal?
Young Ben took me for a sunrise ride, and the horse wandered away.
You come down over there.
But, Pa!
She's telling the truth, Mr. McClintock. We wasn't doing nothing.
Well, that's not important right now. The important thing is that you don't draw that hog leg, or this'll be worse than Dodge City on Saturday night.
You get on, back to the wagon. I'll tend to you later. Now for this young whippersnapper.
Now, no harm has been done. And young Ben here is one of the nicest boys in the territory, so just put down that shotgun and
I'll
let's
teach
forget
him to fool with Mike.
Now, we'll all calm down.
Boss, he's just a little excited.
I know. I'm gonna use good judgment. I haven't lost my temper in 40 years. But Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed. And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. The hell I won't.
All right, so as we heard there, classic scene where we have that build-up of violence, particularly in that last bit of dialogue where John Wayne's character saying, but I won't, but I won't. So he's signposting one form of action that he's not going to hit this other character. And then you have that wonderful, great moment of reversal where Wayne's character says, the hell I won't. And absolutely decks that that guy. So let's hear again how this can get unpacked as an explanation of good scene writing.
Jones pokes McClintock, the peacemaker, repeatedly in the gut with a sawed-off shotgun. McClintock finally loses his patience, takes the weapon from him, and turns the tables. Here is a description and transcription of the moment. McClintock: I haven't lost my temper in 40 years, but Pilgrim, you caused a lot of trouble this morning. Might have got somebody killed. And somebody ought to belt you in the mouth. But I won't. I won't. He turns and backs away from him, but then quickly turns back and winds up. McClintock: the hell I won't. McClintock hits him with a haymaker, causing him to flip-flop down a hill and into a giant pool of mud. Despite the varying emotional depth of these two scenes, they use the same tactic. They twist from one extreme to the other. McClintock literally turns away from Jones before changing his mind and physically reversing direction to wallop him. Even the repeated line, "I won't," takes him further away from the eventual reversal. The moment undulates from one end of the spectrum, not hitting, to the other, most certainly hitting. In L.A. Confidential, the moment before White throws the chair out of the window, he holds it over Exley's head. It covers the same spectrum in reverse order, traversing the vast expanse between most certainly hitting and not hitting in an instant. The power of a turning point is in the surprise shift from one extreme to another. The juxtaposition of an idea and its opposite accentuates the twist and contributes to its effect. Simply, you have to go left before you go right. If McClintock announces, "I am going to hit you," immediately before doing so, there is no discernible turn. An audience won't enjoy the climactic wallop as a reversal without the sharp movement that immediately precedes it. No one enjoys a story with weak, wishy-washy turns. This holds true for the split-second climaxes of scenes, as well as in the climax of your 110-page script. Look for a crisp and why boy.
So, yeah, as we can see there, what's really interesting is this idea of a surprising twist. Where he moves on to something quite interesting is now he starts exploring this idea of why boy can't have girl. That rather than boy meets girl, right, you've got to, sometimes great storytelling is refusing that payoff of boy getting together with girl.
Reversal for the climax of every scene as well as in the climax of your overall story. The breakout box, why boy must lose girl.
So yeah, why boy must lose girl. So we'll unpack some scenes of how Mercurio points out that this idea of reversal also works with romantic movies, romantic dramas, romantic comedies, often through the denial of boy does not get girl. So the example we'll have a listen to here is from one movie from Man Up, where we have the main character who, through a mistake, meets the wrong girl. So it's a blind date, but mistakenly thinks the wrong girl is there waiting for him. So again, it's this setup around the idea of boy meets girl, but instead the meeting is with the wrong person. And again, that sets up certain expectations of how that might pay off. If it were to occur.
Hey, what a great way for us to recognize each other. What a great idea. Although I think it would have been pretty hard to miss you underneath that huge clock.
No.
What do we do in terms of saying hello? I never know. I'm not what to picture. Is it a handshake or is it a hug? I mean, is it formal? You know what? We're adults. You know, let's just go in. Oh, too soon for that. Nope. Mwah. Hello there. So, oh my God, that's not your emergency exit phone call already, is it? Because, you know, I haven't had a chance to use any of my best lines yet. That wasn't one of them, if you were worried. I'll tell you what, listen, I'll handle this, madam. Hello, caller. Yes, we have met, and I am not a complete psychopath, and we've really hit it off, and she will call you later with all the gory details. So thank you for calling, and goodbye. Done. All right, so book, check, and clock, check, and Blind date? Check. So usually in this situation, I would say something and then maybe you'd say something back, and then we talk a little bit about what we're going to do and exchange ideas, you know, sort of quid pro quo, Clarice. In hindsight, that wasn't the best impression to do on a first date, because it brings to mind... Anyway, listen, I'm talking a lot, and I know you can sense it, so I'm going to just keep going with it, and I'm going to start the bidding with a drink on London's fashionable South Bank. As the book says, what are you waiting for?
I am waiting for you.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we, after you, my lady.
So, of course, in that scene, what we have is this idea of boy meets girl, but it never pays off, and instead we fail to have the relationship that Nick Frost thought he was going to have, and the whole movie is set up with playing with those expectations. Let's have a clip now from a classic film that does boy meets girl, but then denies boy getting together with girl. Let's see if you can guess which film this is.
Because you're getting on that plane.
I don't understand. What about you?
I'm staying here with him till the plane gets safely away.
No, Richard, no. What has happened to you? Last night
Last night we said a great many things. You said I was to do the thinking for both of us. Well, I've done a lot of it since then. It all adds up to one thing. You're getting on that plane with Victor where you belong.
But, Richard, no,
Now, you've got to listen to me. You have any idea what you'd have to look forward to if you stayed here? 9 chances out of 10, we'd both wind up at a concentration camp. Isn't that true, Louis?
I'm afraid Major Strasser would insist.
You're saying this only to make me go.
I'm saying it because it's true. Inside of us, we both know you belong with Victor. You're part of his work, the thing that keeps him going. If that plane leaves the ground and you're not with him, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life.
But what about us?
We'll always have Paris. We didn't have. We lost it until you came to Casablanca. We got it back last night.
When I said I would never leave you.
And you never will. But I've got a job to do, too. Where I'm going, you can't follow. What I've got to do, you can't be any part of. Ilsa, I'm no good at being noble, but it doesn't take much to see that the problems of 3 little people don't amount to a hill of beans in this crazy world. Someday you'll understand that. Now. He's looking at you, kid.
All right, so of course that's the famous scene from Casablanca, which is really one of those classic, boy meets girl setups where you think Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall are going to get together, but then at the end the film denies that, and it's boy doesn't get girl, and instead Humphrey Bogart sends Lauren Bacall's character off to be with her husband.
So boy gets depression.
Well, he gets to be, I wouldn't say Humphrey Bogart. I mean, there are scenes in there where he's certainly depressed. Well, let's actually, the next scene, I think, takes that logic to its fullest. So we'll see if, I won't say what it is, but it's another one of this boy meets girl, and you think boy is going to be with girl forever, and the last act is, no, boy does not get girl.
Oh, I know what this is.
Oh, okay. Well, Don't spoil it.
Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
So close. It's not claymation, so I should have narrowed that down. That's true. Most of your guesses are claymation. Yes, here we go. We'll play this film, and again, it's the final act in this film, or it's the final, it's Act 3 of the film, where we're realizing, oh my God, boy's not going to get girl.
Jack.
Do you know what it is?
Jack.
Jack.
Character?
Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
So,
Titanic.
Oh, well, you nailed it. It is indeed Titanic. Here we are in the famous final scene where, what's the actress that played this role?
Jack.
No. Anyway, yeah, the love interest is on the door or whatever it is, the bit of wood, and Jack has sacrificed himself, DiCaprio's character, by wading in the water, holding onto it, and of course,
not wading in the water, because otherwise they could have just stood up.
I guess he's suspended in the water.
Yeah.
Are you still wading if you're wading in the water? Like, you don't need to be standing to be wading, do you? Anyway, that's a tangent. Well, sculling in the water.
Sculling.
Anyway, so yeah, of course, here we have. We think Leonardo DiCaprio is going to have a happy ever after ending.
Mm-hmm.
Boy meets girl, boy gets girl. But in this case, boy meets girl, and boy doesn't get girl.
Boy gets God.
He's God. Now here's another scene that's discussed as an example of reversal. So this is from The English Patient. I won't get people to guess it. Have you seen The English Patient?
No.
Neither have I. But this scene... So you got Ralph Fiennes, who played, of course, the character of what from Harry Potter?
Voldemort.
No, Voldemort. That's right. That's where many people would know him from. Voldemort, in this movie...
Well, as opposed to his major role in, what's it called? The black and white movie.
Is that the name?
No, the really...
Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, yeah.
As the Nazi guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. So in this scene, we have a sandstorm that's approaching.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit of dialogue, which is given as an example of a reversal.
Okay.
Right? It's a very subtle reversal in this sense. What we're doing is we're kind of setting up through dialogue the sense that... actually the opposite is going to be true than what's being said. So let's see if you can guess what the reversal concept is in this bit of dialogue. So both characters, so basically sandstorm coming, both characters have taken shelter in the car. Ralph Fiennes' character is the kind of, guide hero character, and the actress, there's an actress there. Anyway, let's listen to the scene from...
Oh, Kate Winslet. That's
Kate Winslet. There we go.
That was from the Titanic one.
Right. Yeah. Well, there we go. Okay, so that was Kate Winslet. All right. Anyway, here we go. So they're getting into the car, and we have some dialogue.
Let me tell you about winds.
Oh, this isn't the dialogue. Sorry. That's the wind dialogue. We don't want the wind dialogue. We want this dialogue. Okay.
Not very good, is it?
No.
Will we be all right?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Yes is a comfort. Absolutely is not.
Okay, so did you pick it up? The sense of reversal that's there?
No, and then absolutely.
Well, yes, he starts off by saying no, but then he realizes he needs to provide comfort. As the scriptwriter, you could say, okay. So he goes, are we going to be okay? And he goes, yes, and that inflection's going upwards, so it's sounding positive. And then the way he delivers the line, absolutely, it's very flat and monotone, suggests that actually, no, everything's not going to be okay, which is what she picks up on, this idea of a short bit of dialogue for reversal. As an actor... Do you feel that are there moments of reversal that you've performed, like where you've said one thing, and then you're actually meaning the opposite, or you're doing misdirection, right? You're saying it's going to be fine, we've got this, but your character knows you haven't, or something, or you're setting the audience up for a reversal where there's going to be a twist.
Surely, at some point, when it comes to the stuff that I've acted in...
Huge canon?
As the day after, I forget everything.
Really? So you kind of blanked on being like a detective character?
Yeah, I was a detective character.
That character would be involved in a lot of sleuthing and build-up and tension and red herrings.
But also comedy.
Well, yeah.
Comic relief.
Which is also about misdirection.
Yeah.
Well, okay. We'll listen to some other performances.
Yeah.
Here's a famous scene, and again, this is a misdirection scene, not misdirection, sorry. This is just a reversal scene. Many people consider this probably one of the most famous reversal scenes, where up until this point, people in the cinema thought, oh, this is this type of character, and then you realize, oh no, this fight is about something else.
Is it The Prestige?
Oh, that is a great example, though. That is a great example. We will talk about that now, because you've raised it. Yeah. The Prestige is a fantastic, in terms of misdirection. The whole film's about misdirection. You got Hugh Grant and Batman. The guy that played Batman. Isn't he the other actor that's in it? Bale. Christian Bale.
Was it Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant, this was not what I said. Hugh Grant and Christian Bale.
I thought it was the Australian fellow.
Hugh Grant is an Australian fellow. And Christian Bale is the other... Isn't because like then
Hugh Grant's not Australian, he's British. Very...
Oh, sorry, not Hugh Grant. The Wolverine actor.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Starts with a H.
Yeah. Hugh somebody.
Hugo Weaving. No.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, yeah.
Gee whiz. Anyway, yeah. So, but then you have Christian Bale's character, of course. The reveal at the end, spoiler, is in fact that you've had misdirections throughout that they're twins, right? Which is so masterfully created. Anyway, no, this is another misdirection. Let's see if you can pick up what it is.
You are beaten. It is useless to resist.
It's not Wallace.
Don't let yourself be
Wally.
destroyed as
It's not
Obi-Wan
Wally.
did.
All right. And you know the misdirection for this, of course, is the famous line. Coming up.
No, I am your father.
Wait, this film is one of these Mandela effect films.
Yeah.
Don't make me destroy.
Many people think the line is
Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, no, Luke, but it's,
You do not
here we
yet
go.
realize your importance.
So at this point, we're thinking up until this point, Darth Vader's character is a villain.
Join me.
Well, he still is after this,
Oh,
but
yeah, he
he's
still
the
is a
enemy,
villain.
right? He's an enemy, basically.
Combined strength, we can end this destructive conflict and bring order.
We'll go forward a bit.
Never told
Oh, here we go.
you
Here it
what
is.
happened to your father.
He told me enough. He told me you killed him.
No. I am your father.
Yeah. So reversal in terms of audience expectations of how that fight would go. You'd think either Luke would triumph. At this point, Luke is losing. So
Yeah.
the appearance is, oh, how badly Luke will be defeated.
Yeah.
But
And that was obviously from Star Wars, like the series that was pretty bad, and then Disney took over and became really good.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, it's a I mean, many people, may not have heard of this film. Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, it's a kind of reversal there in terms of expectations of how the good guy, bad guy fight gets resolved. That instead of it just being how madly is Luke defeated, it's instead, this crisis of paternalism, of identity, a much more meta discussion. So the direction now for reversal that is discussed is this idea of misdirection, where films deliberately create expectations in the audience that, oh, this character is going to be doing that. This is that type of character, so therefore the film's going to map out this way. We're going to listen
Like
to
in Canto.
What?
Like in Canto. The main character has no magical powers, but then at the end of the film has the powers to bring everyone together.
Is this your fan fiction?
No.
What is Canto?
In Canto.
In Canto. Is this a claymation?
No, it's Disney.
It's Disney.
Yeah.
When did it come out? Oh, yeah. I think I have vague memories of a poster.
Yeah.
So this was a film came out a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's actually bloody good.
Yeah. Okay, yep. So that would be a great example. Yeah. So we have that main character that you think is has these type of powers or is this type of person, but then shifts. All right. Well, here's one that's considered quite famous in terms of, a character that gets established in Act 1 that you think is going to be the main character, and then ends up not being the main character.
Is this something to do with, like, Game of Thrones or something?
No, Game of Thrones is a good example of another concept, though. So we will get back to that in the next 10 minutes that we've got on the show. So, do you know any of these sounds?
Oh, no, I don't. Psycho?
Great! You're doing really well in this. Psycho. This is the famous shower scene in Psycho. So here we are with Janet Leigh's character taking a shower, Act 1, Psycho. Now, of course, this scene is famous not only for being very brutally violent, but also the fact that we think Janet Leigh is the main character, but dies at the end of Act 1, brutally. And so suddenly we've got this feeling like her, because up until this point, like her character in Act 1 steals money, drives to the motel, is remorseful, and is about, obviously we know this character is going to return. But now we have the scene where, no, this is a different type of movie. This is Psycho. So yeah, her character is killed brutally in this shower scene, famously mise-en-scène up. So again, that's an idea of reversal. Suddenly this character reverses who that character is in terms of not main character.
A modern term, one that I can think of, is 1917.
Oh, okay, right, the World War One.
Yeah, that's all shot in one film sequence.
Yeah,
fantastic. But that's where they've got you've got the two soldiers. One of them is just he needs to go off and find his brother, and then the other soldier just sort of tagging along, and then the fellow who has the brother ends up dying. It's like, oh, okay, so this is the main character in this story.
Another great example of this is this one that I'll play now.
Yes?
Who is this?
Who are you trying to reach?
What number is
Okay, this is Act 1.
What number are you trying to
Same
reach?
genre as Psycho, so a horror film.
Well, I think you have the wrong number.
Do I?
It happens.
Drew
Take it
Barrymore's
easy.
character.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Close. It is directed by Wes Craven, who did Nightmare on Elm Street. It's so close.
Hello?
I'm sorry. I guess I dialed the wrong number.
The
So
Mask
why'd
of
you
the
dial it
Killer is
again?
based on the the monk
You're
Scream.
forgiven. Bye now.
Wait, don't hang up.
What?
I've literally just said the title of the film.
Scream.
Yes.
See ya.
Yeah, so Scream's famous because, of course, Act 1, Drew Barrymore's in that house getting prank calls. We think she's the main character because she's a big A-lister or recognized star. She dies, right, shortly after this call, right? Act 1, so simultaneously. So again, this idea that, oh, wow, they're killing, like, the name character off now. So again, a nice reversal. Now I'm going to play some examples where audience expectations weren't met.
Okay.
Right? So these were where hopefully...
So where the reversals were a bad idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, because you want a reversal to be satisfying. They're very difficult to pull off, but it should be a satisfying and memorable moment. Now, this is what I'm doing is setting up what people thought was the purpose of this franchise, but turned out to...
Franchise? There's a whole franchise that's changed.
Okay, just be a misdirection. So let me just skip forward to the scene.
Indiana Jones.
So close. I mean, look, that's a movie that has been, like, the Crystal Skulls one.
Yeah.
Was considered to be a reversal that didn't work. Where
well, I was thinking at the end of that one where you've got I can't remember, Just Do It, that fellow.
Yeah,
Shia
LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf, and he picked up the hat, and then Indiana Jones, and it was like he was going to put it on to become the next Indiana Jones. Then Indiana Jones came and took it.
Well, actually, the next example after this is very much in that vein.
Okay.
But look, I think people had expectations of what Indiana Jones was, and it didn't include that degree of science fiction. Anyway, here's the scene for expectations not being
Do you want to know the truth about your parents? Or have you always known? And you just hidden it away? You know the truth. Say it. Say it.
They were nobody.
They were filthy junk traders who sold you off for drinking money.
Any clues?
The dead.
Yeah,
the pauper's grave and the junk who
So this, of course, is Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
You have no place in the story.
And it's setting up this expectation of who is Rey's parentage, right? So there's various expectations and theories, but the whole kind of playing against expectation. Many people would say this movie is a good reversal in some ways because it actively undercuts people's expectation of what Luke Skywalker is, as well as what it means to be a Jedi. Like, you have to be from the Skywalker dynasty or something. But instead, they set it up as a reversal that, oh, snap, Rey's not a famous Jedi person. Of course, that's all undone in the following film, where they decide, no, we don't want reversals. We just give the audience what they want.
Yeah.
So they bring Palpatine back. They say, oh, no, that was all a kind of a head screw. Rey is someone. She's Palpatine's daughter.
Yeah.
It's just, Okay, so the next film got a lot of backlash from fans saying this doesn't make sense. This is not at all the payoff or reversal they wanted. It's an attempt to do a reversal, yes, but fans rejected it. So here we go.
You should use your full name.
Hold on, here we go.
I like that name.
Oh, sorry, I'll bring it back.
Oh, yeah. Try my legal name.
You should use your full name. I like that name. Robin.
Thanks.
Why are we even worrying about the stabilization software? This entire autopilot
Robin.
system is completely obsolete.
Robin.
Final act, superhero film.
I assume something to do with Superman?
Robin's not in Superman,
Really?
but close. Same universe, DC.
Batman.
That's it. So this
Batman
is
and
the
Robin, not Superman and
2012,
Robin.
the 2012 film Dark Knight Rises, done by
Oh,
Christopher
okay.
Nolan.
Yeah.
And
I've only seen that movie once, and it was when it came out.
I liked it. I really liked it. But anyway, this payoff didn't work in terms of we have this police officer played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt throughout, who's this kind of idealistic cop. Then the payoff in Act 3 is that we have this line of dialogue saying you should use your real name Robin, right? Ba-ba. And it just felt to be really underwhelming, right?
Yeah.
And plus he gets the keys to the mansion, right? So it's like we were saying with the Indiana Jones cap. What we're getting here is a reversal in a way in terms of character we hadn't realized is Robin from Batman and Robin. But of course, it's not the Robin of the comic book universe. It's this attempt to create a kind of, different version of Robin.
Yeah.
But people, it just didn't. It didn't
It's on
really.
the nose.
Yeah.
I thought of another good reversal. The first episode of Black Mirror. No, not first episode of Black Mirror. The second episode of Black Mirror.
Yeah, Black Mirror is kind of built up around that. What was the second episode?
The second episode was where you've got the everyone lives in these little boxes, and it's got box rooms, and it's got screens everywhere, and like if you shut your eyes, the ads play a high-pitched noise so loud that you have to open your eyes and watch the ads. And so you've got the main character played by, I can't remember his name, but he was in Johnny English. And
wow. The Mr. Bean spy thriller by Rowan Atkinson.
And he, in that film, he's like against all of this sort of like live streaming sort of thing, and then ends up going on stage after having lost everything with a piece of glass to his throat. And then there's this reversal, and that becomes his gimmick. And so he starts live streaming with the piece of glass and in his idealistic bigger room now. And that's his gimmick because he's
so rather
getting
than
the money in.
Yeah, rather than a subversive ending where the character has escaped, he's actually become part of the machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. Look, I was trying to find some other examples. I mean, I know there was a kind of backlash against the Matrix Revolution in a similar vein. Not that, and just that it didn't really make sense to many people. The Hobbit Battle of Five Armies, right? I mean, I know that. Yeah, I mean, the extended battle scenes, deviations from the source material.
What a joke.
Yeah, you weren't a fan?
No, Hobbit movie's terrible. Lord of the Rings best movies.
Well, and I guess maybe the reversal there is people were expecting, much like Lord of the Rings, a very, very faithful adaptation.
Yeah,
right? Rather than
and that's because they got Peter Jackson back in to do it, because Guillermo del Toro was actually originally going to do it, and he's the one that planned for it, and he had like 6 years of planning behind it, and then he decided, I'm going to leave, and then they said, oh my God, we need someone in here, because he did the Lord of the Rings so well, we'll get Peter Jackson in. And Peter Jackson's like, I don't know what the hell to do with this, but we've got to keep to the schedule, and made a pretty poor product.
Oh, well, look, Game of Thrones, you talked about briefly earlier. I mean, that final season is considered such an anticlimax where the fates of key characters, particularly Daenerys Targaryen, was not paid off.
I've never seen. I've seen one episode.
Oh yeah. Well, in fact, the fan dissatisfaction with the reverses that happened were so hostile that I never pushed through to watch
Yeah.
those final seasons. Some examples, just finishing up now, of films where there was that subversion of audience expectations that does work, right?
Alien. I'm not going anywhere with that. I was just saying a movie.
Well, No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, the fact that you have just this final act where the villain character is not arrested and is instead involved in a car accident.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know one which is good subversion, which is Bigfoot.
Oh wow, Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
What's this one? That's not Harry and the Hendersons.
No. It's a episode of The Goodies.
Oh wow.
And instead of being Bigfoot, it just ends up being Tim Brooke Taylor with a massive foot.
Yeah. Because it is singular.
Yeah.
The Goodies. Yeah, I mean, comedy is built around reversals, I guess, like that. Well, a lot of M. Night Shyamalan's films, right? The Village, you've seen The Village?
No.
Right, you think you're watching a film set in the 19th century, and the third act reveals that actually it's today's world.
Oh, right,
And it's a kind of hardcore Mormon community.
Okay, yeah.
And there's a crisis that's occurred.
The most recent movie I've seen of his was Old.
Oh yeah, I've heard.
And
of
that was
same.
really poorly done. Really
Concept's
poorly
interested me.
done.
When someone explained it to me on paper, it sounded fascinating.
It sounded really good.
Like pharmaceutical testing laboratory vibe, and testing the like the long-term consequences of certain drugs.
Yeah,
I mean, good concepts. So
great
this
concept,
island, but yeah,
it was the acting. I think that was mainly part of the ruin of that. Yeah.
Cabin in the Woods. Have you seen that? Joss Whedon
No,
film?
I have
Very
heard
clever.
about that, and I've heard that it's all like animatronic or something like that, or something.
I mean, it's fantastic from my point of view because it has this fantastic premise where you think in the first act you're watching one
horror
type of film. Yeah, just by the numbers horror. I mean, it's Joss Whedon, so you know there's a meta engagement there.
Mhm.
But then suddenly it takes this hard left turn.
Which is what?
Well,
Because
it
I thought it
turns
was
out
like a joke or something.
No, well, it turns out that horror movies are real. That they're a way of the Earth to offset the Cthulhu apocalypse, right?
Okay.
So around the world are these moments of horror that occur, and they're used as kind of ritualistic blood sacrifices.
Yeah.
But the idea being that they're actually choreographed. So there's a control room where the Cabin in the Woods literally is this cliched, Evil Dead type cabin where the characters and then it's all explained in a very, very clever way in terms of like there's a gas that lowers people's IQs. So they start doing these stupid decisions, like they split up, for instance. So it's a really fun little meta commentary also about why that final girl trope exists, what that role that has in this. It's because I was actually, I mean, it's an interesting, I guess, type of reversal in a way. There were these two English professors talking about Stephen King books.
Mhm.
One of them was pointing out that to understand Stephen King books, you got to understand they operate by literalizing kind of moral panics.
Mhm.
So there's a moral panic that cars kill people. Well, what happens if a car literally killed someone?
Yeah.
A la Christine, right?
Yeah.
A satanic, well, kind of demonic car.
Yeah.
Cell phones turn people stupid. It's a phrase.
Mhm.
So his book Cell is all about, well, what if people became zombies? Like cell phones are making people zombies. A high school is hell.
Yeah.
So Christine takes that premise, like, what if you have a kind of hell-like character like Christine, plunging everyone?
Yeah.
Into
There's there's all carrots being pulled out from my garden. Perhaps there's a were-rabbit.
Yeah.
Wallace and Gromit, Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
If there was a panic that was then a saying, I'm losing all my carrots. I'm losing all my carrots, and then someone says, well, that's the were-rabbit, and people go, ho ho, it's real. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, well, look, it's been Media Mothership for another week. We've eaten into some of K-Pop Unlimited's time, so oof. Keep listening now to Edge Radio 9.3 FM as we get on to K-Pop Unlimited, and we'll be posting this episode up on your podcasts You can listen for more episodes on YouTube and Twitch and at edgeradio.org.au or your podcast provider of choice. Check out Media Mothership on Facebook and Instagram. I've been Dr. Craig, joined by Lord Taylor. Lord Taylor. Yeah, we got to figure out a reversal there at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any final words?
My final words are: you should have been doing that as you were speaking. Yeah.
Dive into new music at Edge Radio. The Aged Care Volunteer Visitors Scheme is a government-funded service provided by Lifeline Tasmania, free to elderly who are feeling lonely and socially isolated. We arrange volunteer visitors